Marc Stevens. It is April 20th. It is 4:20, so we're going to have to definitely talk about, I know Calvin has just let me know, sent me a message about maybe talking about the drug war being a scam, and we can talk about that today. Oh, it sounds like the helicopters. We're starting the show, so that's about right. But I'm Marc Stevens. Welcome to the April 20th, the 420 edition of the No State Project. I'm glad to be here with you. Got a lot of stuff to get to. I'm going to get the video. I know it's like the new book, but it's not going to take nearly as long to get the video posted. I do have the video for what happened in Tempe this week, and it will be available at markstevens.net. We also have a Call of Shame that we're going to get posted, a Canadian one. I believe it's Canadian. We'll get that posted later, and again, after the show, I'll have the what happened in Tempe. We'll be taking calls, not for this segment, but I know we're already loaded up with calls. Be patient. I'm going to try to get an introduction kind of video to what happened in Tempe. So I want to give an update to what happened in Tempe. For those following, I spoke a couple weeks ago, confronted the Tempe City Council with the question, what empirical proof do you have that your codes apply to me or anyone else and that you have jurisdiction over us? And, of course, they're not able to answer. There is no answer, no responsive answer. There is no facts. But they could be honest, and they could just say, there is no evidence. There isn't. So what they did was they pawned it off on the city attorney. And let's see where, there she is. There's a woman named Judith Baumann, or Baumann. Well, Baumann, I'm from Long Island. Judith Baumann, she's the interim Tempe city attorney, and so they said that I would be able to speak in depth with Miss Baumann. So we set up an initial, she did respond to an email that I had sent. She did set up an appointment for last week, which was, and I mentioned this on the show last week with Alex Knight. That's you can get that show there. She blew it off, never contacted me, didn't call me, didn't say a word, didn't return my emails, didn't return my calls, had no intention of resetting it. So last Friday I did give a call, spoke to a secretary, and we did get it reset for this past Wednesday. I guess that was the 17th, April 17th. So she would not do it over the phone. I guess she was worried that I was going to record it and post it on the Call of Shame, but I gave her my word I wasn't going to do that. She refused. She absolutely would not do it. I had to do it in person, and she was not going to permit any kind of recording whatsoever. So I went with Dan from the chat, who's gone and been a media rep for a number of people. Appreciate that. So we get there, and she's got a law school student, a third-year law school student named Anthony, who's attending. So we're sitting in a conference room, and she's more interested in my background than answering the questions. I imagine that if someone from ABC News, who's considered a real journalist, she wouldn't be asking about what their background is, just what are your questions that you have. But for me, she wants to know my background, where I'm going with everything. It's very simple. I want to know what evidence you have, empirical proof that you have that the Tempe Code applies to me or anyone else, and that there's jurisdiction. Because this is a pretty serious issue. The tens of millions of dollars that they bring in are based on their code and sending swarms of police officers out to bring people into the corrupt court to then extract the money. She absolutely refuses. In fact, like I said to the city council on Thursday night, the next night, the only straight answer you can get from this woman right here, Judith Baumann, the only straight answer I could really get from this woman was she would absolutely not discuss the evidence that she relies on to prove that the code she enforces every day applies to me or anyone else. She would not do that. And we were scheduled from 2 to 2:30. She got up at about a little after 2:10. She got up and started walking away. So I had to ask her, well, wait a minute, one other question before you just rudely walk away. She wasn't even going to say goodbye. She just got up and walked out. So I stopped her and I said, no, I have another question. And I said, look, are you just willfully withholding evidence? Or you know you have no evidence and you just can't wait to get the heck out of here as fast as you can? Well, needless to say, she did not want to answer that particular question either. So I told her what I wanted to do was I wanted to submit it to her entire prosecuting staff. So we've got the entire city council who, after weeks, cannot give a responsive answer to what evidence they have that their code applies. And now we have the city attorney who said that I would be able to speak to her in depth and she would be able to answer my question. She refused also. So I wanted to submit it to her entire staff. She did not like the idea. I asked her for the contact information for her entire prosecuting staff. I'm just interested in the prosecutors. I don't care about attorneys that are not actually bringing people into court under the impression that the law applies to them. She didn't want to do that. She said I go to the media rep, that the contact information for the media rep was on the website. I couldn't find it. I called, spoke. Someone at her office couldn't find it on the website. Here it is. It's tempe.gov. Couldn't find it. So what I was stuck doing was sending a fax. So what we'll do is we'll go down over here. And I'm looking at, this is the fax that I sent. I got the little nice icon there. I try to look sort of professional. And I just lay it out for the entire prosecuting staff. I'm a radio show host and investigative journalist. I'll give you a little moment to laugh at that. I investigate mainly government corruption. I've asked your city council several times for empirical evidence the laws and Tempe Code apply to me and others and have not gotten a responsive answer. I spoke to your boss, Ms. Baumann, on April 17th, and she refuses to discuss the matter. If there was evidence, it would have been provided weeks ago. So I'm putting the question to the prosecutors in this office. Please make sure a copy gets to each prosecutor. And here's the question nobody can give me an answer to. It's such a simple question, at least to me, either you have the evidence or you don't. But it's what empirical evidence do you rely on proving the laws apply to me and others? Right? You got millions and millions of dollars at stake here. Where's your evidence? Since you accuse people of violating your laws every day, including me a few times, then you must have evidence the laws apply. And then I give my contact information. Not too confident that they are going to, I don't need to do that. I'm not too confident that they are going to be responsive to me. I think they'll get the same thing. What Ms. Baumann did was because she wanted a little of my background. And I do regret saying that I did give her a little bit where I was coming from, where I was going with this question. Where I'm going with the question is just proving that you guys have no evidence. You're a gang of killers, thieves, and liars, and you're running basically a mafia-type racket. Plain and simple. Without the evidence that your code applies, you're no different than any other gang of criminals. So I had told her, based on my investigation, I've done this show for a number of years now. I have spoken to hundreds and hundreds of prosecutors and judges, lawyers, tax agents, police officers. I've spoken to hundreds of politicians and we'll just say bureaucrats. And based on that, none of them have been able to produce one shred of empirical proof that the code, the Constitution, their codes apply. And it doesn't matter. I told her I've done this with bureaucrats and prosecutors in Australia. I've got the evidence on the website. I've done it in England, where I asked John Scott, what evidence do you have that the Acts of Parliament apply to my client? And he said, I have absolutely no idea. So based on my investigation, there's no evidence these codes apply. So she tried to use that as, this is what lawyers do to avoid the question. You don't have any evidence, Ms. Baumann, so you try to deflect the attention. You don't answer the question directly. And this is what she did. She made up this excuse that because my mind was made up that there was no evidence, she was going to refuse to answer the question. Now, take a moment to digest the stupidity of such a statement. Your mind, Mark, is made up that there's no evidence, so I'm not going to answer your question and present my evidence. Again, I go there dressed. I think I'm a professional. And this is what I get. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be posting the video of me confronting the Tempe City Council again. It's about 7 minutes long, and you're going to love this. They actually admit that there, basically no evidence. It's because they said so. We'll be back here on the No State Project in just a moment. Don't go away.
Good evening. Please state your name and place of residence.
Good evening. Marc with Mesa. We're just sort of calling a residence, though. I want to get straight to the point. Last time you brushed off my issue of evidence, and you pointed off on city attorney. You said I'd be able to speak to her in depth on the issue of evidence to prove that your codes the state law applies to me or so anyone else, that you have jurisdiction. She did initially make a date for last Wednesday, and she blew it off. Made no attempt to call me. I understand we're busy. I'm a busy man myself. I rearranged my schedule, and I moved clients and people around. She wasn't there, even though they said that she was late. She made no attempt to return a phone call. She wouldn't return my emails, much like yourselves. And if it wasn't for me calling and speaking to get it rescheduled, she would have rescheduled it. So yesterday we did go, and even though we were scheduled for a half hour, she decided she had enough, and about 10, 15 minutes she decided to leave. I do want to point out she is masterful in the lawyer tricks. The only straight answers this woman gave yesterday was that she was not going to respond to my question about evidence. That's it. That was really, and she wouldn't even give me a straight answer on a basic part of law that whoever files a complaint in court bears the burden of proving that the court has jurisdiction over the defendant. She wouldn't give me a straight answer on that. So why you recommend me speak to Ms. Baumann, I don't get it. Is there she showed again, she got up and she was walking out for 15 minutes or less into it. She just wouldn't respond. So I'm going to put the question again, because I put the email to all of you several times since we were last here. What we've got here, and I'll ask the question in a second. Over 2 weeks now, you guys have not been able to produce one shred of evidence that your code applies and you have jurisdiction. You pawned it off on Ms. Baumann. Ms. Baumann was completely unable to address the issue also. So I'm putting the question again. What empirical proof, if any, do you have to prove that your code is applied to me and that you have jurisdiction over me or anyone else?
Well, Mr. Stevens, I would refer you to Ms. Baumann. She is our attorney, our city attorney, and I think our council colleagues would agree that any legal issues goes through her office. Councilmember Henry.
I want to just make one correction to a statement that you made. I can't speak for my council colleagues. I know I responded to you at least once. I thought twice. While it may have been insufficient or not the answers you were looking for, to say that I didn't respond to you being an incorrect statement.
You're correct. You did respond, but it was not responsive to what I was requesting.
That's a different statement than what you said. Fair enough. Responsive is a statement of opinion.
No,
response is a statement of fact.
Excuse me, sir. No, it is not. When I ask for empirical evidence that the code applies, empirical evidence is a response to that. Telling me to go to the city attorney or having their staff respond or giving me some political platitude is not a responsive answer. When I ask for facts, facts are responses. Please don't play that with me. I'm not going to accept that. I don't accept it from your judges. I don't accept it from your cops. I don't expect it from your city attorney, and I'm not going to expect it from you.
Unfortunately, I don't have the stenographer here, so I can't play back what you said. My recollection of what you just said may have been different than mine. Be that as it may, you're asking a group of 6 non-lawyers to grant you a legal opinion and wondering, let me finish, and wondering why they don't. The reason they don't is because they're not lawyers. And they shouldn't. It's entirely appropriate that when asked a legal question, to refer to your lawyer to answer it. I can guarantee you that you will have a meeting with our city attorney, and I can guarantee you that she'll provide you an answer. And I can nearly guarantee you that you're going to find an answer to be insufficient. Unfortunately, if you want to change our existing policy, the burden is on you. And so I would encourage you to exercise that burden in whatever way you think is appropriate, because you'd be essentially working against what every city in the entire valley does. And if that's the thing you want to do with your free time, you might be right. I have no idea if you're right. I haven't researched it. My suspicion is you're not. And when you ask us to prove our jurisdiction, the proof is we said we have jurisdiction. The proof is now on you to determine that we don't.
So, because you said so. That's your answer.
Yes.
You said so. You got that. Because you said
Oh,
so.
no, sure. Put it
Let
on
me
video.
explain.
I'll come on your show and do an
explain.
interview with you.
Oh, that's great. We're Saturday from 1. You don't need to. We're live every Saturday. I'd be happy to have you on. What you're doing is you're conflating.
I don't think I'm allowed to do that without a lawyer there.
What you're actually doing is you're conflating a legal opinion with facts. I'm not asking any of you for a legal opinion. I'm asking you for empirical proof that your code applies to me. That's a totally different thing. One is an issue of fact. One is an issue of law. Now, deal with the facts. If If you're going to sit up there and you're going to pass codes and send swarms of police out to collect tens of millions of dollars, then don't you think you have any responsibility to be able to prove that your codes apply to anyone that you're applying them to? Because I can tell you right now, your judges don't care. Your prosecutors don't have the evidence. I guarantee you your cops don't have the evidence. And your judges have to back up. So, while you may turn around and say you have no oversight over your judiciary, you have oversight over yourself and your city attorney. You can't guarantee me that she's going to give me an answer because I have a witness from yesterday, and there's a reason why she doesn't want to be recorded, because then I would be able to make a copy of that available to you. She is not exercising good faith and answering a question on facts. So even if we're not conflating facts and opinion, she won't answer the question. So you can't, it's disingenuous at best, sir, to tell me that you can guarantee your city attorney will do that when the record, the facts show otherwise. She blew off the first meeting, made no attempt to contact me to reschedule. Then when I did, she wouldn't give me a straight answer.
Mr. Stevens, thank you for your time. You are out of time in the 5-minute time period.
Well, I
And
still would like an
wanna make
answer.
Well, here again, I'm going to restate it. We have the authorization. We work with our city attorney. She is the attorney representing the city. She will meet with you and talk to you regarding your case. And that is up to them to determine, as well as our presiding judge.
So you're,
Thank you very much.
just for clarification, you're saying she will meet with me again and answer the question on evidence the code applies.
Well, is it going to be, if she hasn't already answered it, she will.
You're publicly stating your city attorney is going to finally address this question.
Well,
Probably not to your satisfaction.
Well, she pulled that on me yesterday. When you say because we said so, did we get that? Because we said so?
thank you very much. You are out of time, and we can discuss this after the meeting.
Okay, is it possible, can I speak with the police chief about this?
You may, by all means.
Thank you.